Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Get Cinematic. This is episode 8. For those who don't know, this is a movie podcast. Every episode we discuss a different movie. Last time we talked about My Bloody Valentine from 1981. It was me, Jacob, Matt, and Jason. This time it's just me and Jason, and we're going to be talking about My Bloody Valentine 2009. So, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
What are you drinking on today?
I'm just drinking a Fresca.
Oh, okay, nice.
It's just like
You must finally get you a sponsor, huh?
no, it's just like carbonated water.
Yeah. Yeah, let's deep dive into this baby.
So, I don't like this one like near as much as the original at all.
I do like it. Now, I don't like it as much as the original, so I'm not sure where your percentage level is on that
I gave
compared
it
to the remake and the original.
So I gave the original a 5 out of 5. I gave this one a 2.5 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think I gave it a 3.
Yeah, this
I think I gave it a 5 for the original and then a 3. So we're almost on the same page.
this one, so like the way I see it, like a 3 would mean like it's good. A 2.5 means it's not bad, but it's not good either. It's like in the middle. It's like almost good. That's what a 2.5 I see that as. Like it's almost good, but it's got a lot of issues, I think.
Okay. That's good you say that because I always hate the 1 through 5 starring. I like kind of the 1 through 10. You get kind of this more of a range there of middle.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
movies start getting kind of,
because on a 1 through 5 scale, like 2.5 is 50% of 5. So that means it's like in the
Yeah.
it means it's in the middle.
Yeah, I'd say I'm in the middle just a little bit more. I have my reasons, but I'm totally interested in hearing yours.
So,
What did you not like about it?
I feel like there's a lot of like weird story choices. Like the original is so good that like I feel like it's necessary unnecessary to like do like a remake or a reboot because the original was that good. To where this just feels like they were basically like, let's redo the original, but we have to do something different, so let's just do everything the opposite. Let's just do the same movie, but it's completely the opposite. That's kind of how it felt to me.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't think it needed to be made versus the original. With them doing so, I did like the story because they're having to, they have to kind of do it differently because if you follow the exact story rollout of the first one, then there's going to be no mystery and suspense.
Right.
So I felt like they complicated the story, but I see why they had to switch stuff up.
Well, like one thing that's kind of interesting. I need to look this up real quick. So the thing that's kind of interesting. So the two guys from Supernatural each were in a remake of a classic slasher movie, both in 2009. So, because I think that Friday the 13th movie came out in 2009, Yeah, it did.
It did.
Yeah, so it came out on February 13th, 2009. And I think they might have been released on the same day. No, they weren't.
Oh wow, them
They
two
weren't.
must have been.
Yeah, they weren't. So I guess they put My
Them two
Bloody.
must have been
Well, so the My Bloody
Soul
Valentine.
Brothers instead of Supernatural Brothers.
So My Bloody Valentine, the 2009 version, came out on January 16th, 2009, and then the Friday the 13th reboot came out on February 13th, 2009. So it's kind of weird. I feel like My Bloody Valentine probably should have been released in February, but they probably released it in January to not fight with Friday the 13th as much. But I still thought it was interesting that,
Yeah, I agree with you.
like, I thought it was interesting that, Jensen Ackles, I think is his name. He's in the My Bloody Valentine movie, and then Jared Padalecki. I don't watch Supernatural. I've never seen it. I don't really know anything about these guys. But I think his name's like Jared.
Yeah, I don't follow
Padalecki.
it.
He was in the
Yeah,
Friday the 13th movie. I almost wonder if they had like some kind of conversation, and that's why they both did a slasher movie. Like it almost feels like they kind of.
I know. That's what I was saying. I think maybe they're
It feels like they did that.
more Soul Brothers than they are Supernatural Brothers.
Like that almost has to be on purpose.
Yeah, that's just too ironic there. I don't know.
The two leads were each in a slasher reboot / reimagining in the same year.
I wonder if they had. I wonder if there was some downtime of filming Supernatural or something, so they had a window of continuing their career. Who knows on that one? But I think that is interesting, man. I didn't know that.
I almost think that they both should have been in My Bloody Valentine, and they should have been like Tom and Axel. That would have probably been pretty interesting.
Been pretty interesting, yeah. Maybe they were worried about it being kind of touche, like these two people can't act alone, like the two Corys or something.
Yeah, it probably could have came down to that, but I think it would have been kind of cool though.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
But yeah, I don't know this.
I know we had talked about it coming out in 3D. I thought, and that was a big kind of attraction to it, I guess. It was one of the best 3D movies that came out with the whole new setup,
I never saw it in 3D, so I don't know. Maybe that could be like another factor.
Some of the other movies are like real cheesy about the 3D, especially the slasher movies or like Final Destination. And you can tell they kind of just throw it in your face in a sense when you watch it 2D. I think though
Like
Paul Lauser did I
was gonna say like Friday the 13th Part 3 was in 3D, and that's very like they try too hard in that. Because the guy, I remember like there's a part where the guy hands somebody a blunt, and he's like, here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this isn't as on the nose as that, but there's a few moments where I'm like, okay, that was definitely a 3D thing. There's a few moments like that in this.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's some cool scenes that were well executed for the 3D. I'd have to say that. Like, let's see, what was it? The shovel to the chick's mouth, and then her her head starts sliding off onto the. That was really cool in 3D.
Well, and then right
some
before
of the stabs,
like
to
right
Bob
before
Atkins was pretty cool.
Like right before that, the guy like he gets stabbed in the back of the head, and like his eye pops out. Like that was definitely like a 3D moment, I could tell.
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty cool though, watching it in 3D. Um, I didn't get to rewatch it this time in 3D, but I had before, so it was interesting. It was kind of like, okay, this is what 3D should be, like this and Avatar, this is what 3D should be. But the kills are definitely on point. What'd you think about that? I mean, of course, they got a little bit more creative with the kills.
I didn't have any problem with any of that. I thought like visually it looked fine. Like most of my issues are really like down to story issues because like the story's kind of messy towards the end. And I think it starts to fall apart towards the end of the movie, but like the actual like moment to moment movie is like it's very watchable. It's not like it's like I followed it the whole way through. Like I wasn't really taken out of it until like towards the end. Really, like I just had story issues. Like the story was kind of like butchered. I think kind of muddy.
Yeah, they probably made it complex going into it, trying to hide the fact of the Harry Warden killer from being the first one to try to make something fresh for the fans. I did like some aspects of the story, as in the first one, you didn't know whether it was, TJ or Axel. In this, there's more possibilities. It's the cop, the partner to Kerr Smith, which is the actor. There's Axel. There was little hints there, kind of like done in Scream movies. When you start to add some characters where you're like, are they doing it? I don't know. And then, of course, a lot of it started pointing toward Axel. And some similarities there, and it kind of fit because it's like, okay, he's cheating, he's got a piece of shit for to his wife, and then it was kind of like, okay, well, he knew from the one scene that she was wanting to take things further, the mistress, and you could just tell in his face he was just like, oh wow, she's buying me gifts. So then the idea when I first seen it was, okay, maybe he's using this Warden killings and Echo's coming back to town as an opportunity to kill her, so he don't have to worry about that with his wife, and then mix in some other killings, so it's not. It looks like a direct motivation toward the chick.
That part definitely kind of made it look like it could have been him as a possible suspect for sure. Oh, and then it's not a criticism, but I noticed there was something else weird about the movie. So in the original movie, the town is called Valentine's Bluff, and in this movie it has a completely different name. Like why change the name of the town? Like I didn't. Yeah. I just thought that was weird.
Yeah, that was kind of
because
that was kind of silly. It was like Harmony something.
Yeah, it's Harmony. And the original movie was called Valentine's Bluff. So I don't understand the whole name change thing.
Yeah, that is kind of.
It's not a criticism. Though.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's not. It's not really a criticism.
I did notice it, but I didn't deep dive into it.
I just thought it was odd, like because I immediately was just like, huh, weird. Because that's like, why should it matter? Changing the name. Like, why can't you just keep it the same name?
Yeah, it makes sense if it started out Valentine's Bluff and then 10 years later to get people out of the thing, they changed the name of the place to Harmony. Kind of like, was it Jason Lives? They went from Crystal Lake to Camp Forest Green.
I almost feel like they should have done it that way.
But, like he's... yeah, but they just totally didn't. They went with a new story, which or a new title for the area, which sucks.
It would almost be like I don't know. It just kind of struck me weird because it's almost like if they made a new Halloween movie and they were like, oh, it's not Haddonfield, you're in Flanagan. Like just completely change the name.
Yeah, totally. That would be so just odd, and it wouldn't sit well.
I almost feel like though that they should have so they since they wanted to do another like My Bloody Valentine movie, I feel like they should have just did like what Friday the 13th movie did and just have it be a completely different story.
Yeah,
Cuz
yeah.
this was very
I see what you're saying. They kind of just
they still did the whole like they changed TJ's name to Tom, but it was still like Tom and Axel, TJ and like it was the same characters and everything. Like they almost should have just done a completely different story, and I think maybe I would have liked it a little bit more.
yeah, that's interesting. Because they kind of, you still had the kind of the love triangle thing going on there, like they did the first one with Sarah and then Axel and Tom, and which was cool. And then they kind of added the cheating in, which I liked on Axel's part, only for the simple fact of misdirecting the audience.
Yeah.
I think that like really upped the stakes that it was Axel at that point, and created that mystery and suspense. So I didn't like the fact he was a piece of shit, but I did like the fact that was in there, and it kind of just added a different
See, that's
finish to the characters on
I
flushing
think-
them out.
I think that's one of my story issues is that he is such an awful person the whole movie, and he treats Tom like absolute dirt. It's like and then like Tom gets treated like absolute shit by everybody in this movie, and then he turns out to be the killer. Like I feel like it's kind of like crappy like way to write the story, because like in the original movie neither one of those two guys was treated badly by anybody, but they were just had a quarrel with each other. And this one they have a quarrel with each other, but everybody's also just picking on Tom the whole movie, like blaming him for everything, and then he ends up being the killer. And then the guy who's like an absolute asshole the whole movie lives and is the hero.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I actually like that though. In contrast,
I didn't. I hated
I like
that
the fact that they wrote in. Finally, we were having some diversity. I like the fact that they kind of wrote in the fact that he's owns the mine. He's coming to sell it, and people are pissed off because there goes their livelihood. It's a big thing keeping the area going financially, and people worried about their job and the future of Harmony. So I did like that aspect of them adding that in there, and then everyone pissed off at him. So in contrast to that, I just did like that. I think that did just up the ante a little bit more for.
I didn't have a problem with that.
Realism.
My problem was the fact that they treated him like dirt the whole movie, and then he ended up being the killer, and then the asshole guy is the hero.
Yeah, I see. I know. I see that. I just think it fit. That would fit too neatly. That the good guy, the nice guy, is
the
guy that lives though too. I could see what you're saying is both of them be painted in a positive light, like the first one.
Yeah, in the first one, neither one of them is painted as like a bad person, really.
Yeah, definitely.
They
both, it was just
they both had issues with each other, but they neither. I guess what kind of complicated things was that in the original movie, the Harry Warden stuff happened when they were kids. But in this version, the Harry Warden stuff happens while they're at the age that they would have been in the original movie. I would say like they're kind of like in their 20s at the beginning, and they're like in their 30s the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it kind of like the fact that like I guess like Tom was responsible for the Harry Warden stuff happening kind of like really kind of complicated things a little bit. Then,
I see that aspect. I kind of like the realism of the jerk end up being not the killer, because it's like,
yeah,
you can have a guy
I
that's
just
a
real,
jerk,
yeah.
the anti-hero, I guess.
It sucks. Like the guy with mental health issues is just like treated like shit the whole movie though, and then ends up being the killer, and then the guy who was agging him on, like making the guy who's basically he had like a lot of issues, and people were just like treating him like dirt. Like it's almost bad for like people who do have real mental health issues. Like I almost feel like it's sort
Okay.
of offensive in a way to people that have like real mental health
Okay, that a
issues.
crazy is a crazy.
Yeah, because like I don't know, because it's like they also just like treat him like dirt the whole time. It's like kick the guy with mental health issues while he's down
Yeah,
by making
I
him the
totally see
killer.
that now. Hearing that addressed, I didn't really soak into that. So yeah, I see that
Instead
now.
of him getting help or
That's something I
something.
didn't really.
Yeah, instead of him getting help, oh no, he's the killer. We need to kill him.
Yeah, or they. Yeah, I see your point, because they definitely could have up the ante in there on his past, be having a reveal at some point that he was in a psychiatric hospital, but like maybe some of the details in there come out and that kind of up the ante that yeah, he is the killer, because of this, and then you find out that he's not, meaning yeah, he had some bad times, but just because of that doesn't mean he's the killer, in the sense of it's kind of like the you're talking about, kind of like there was another '80s movie called The Accused with Kelly McGillis and Jodie Foster. It was a young Jodie Foster. It was based on a true story. So basically, this girl is a partier, Jodie Foster. She got around, okay, and she ends up getting raped at a bar. Well, Kelly is her attorney. Now the thing is she completely was like the whore of the town, and the argument is just because she's a whore and does that, if she says no, it means no, or it's rape. Despite the fact that she's kind of a whore, so I totally kind of see that, because it's just saying, okay, just because he had these mental problems from all this PTSD and the stuff that went on, oh wow, wait a minute, he's not the killer.
Yeah, it was almost
So
kind of
yeah, that's a good point.
it was almost kind of shitty that they made him the killer after all of that.
Yeah, it was kind of cool seeing Jensen Ackles as the killer, though. I'll have to
Yeah,
say that.
yeah. No,
I don't
like
follow a whole lot of Supernatural, but it was kind of cool seeing him being.
yeah, like I don't have like any issues with like the cast or like any of the visuals or anything. It was just mostly the story kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about Tom Atkins? The great Tom Atkins in
Yeah,
there.
I thought it was pretty cool that they actually did. They have him in this. Like I thought that was pretty interesting that they put him in this. I feel like they should have put him in like a new Halloween movie though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely liked him in this. It was cool, man. He was still being, even for an elderly man, he was still being old Tom. I like the part where he knows that he's well, let's just say Harry Warden, okay, for the killer, even though we know who it is. So he assumes Harry's in the house, and he's telling the deputy girl, and he used to be a sheriff. So she's like, "You gonna have point?" And he's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
I'm
retired.
retired. It was kind of cool that he's like this, and he was a badass in this movie. But still, even though he's a badass, he was like, "Hell no, I ain't taking point. That's your job. You get up there."
I do see his point in that scene though. Like she's the one that's on duty. He was just there, kind of checking in on things.
Yeah, it is totally showed that she was probably in the job because it is a small, quiet town.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be a cop, cool. I'm trained, but if shit goes down, she's not like
Yeah, this is like one of those.
distressed because a lot of shit don't go down in this town.
I see this as one of those towns where like nothing happens. That's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's kind of how the original movie was too, though. Like it's just kind of like this small town where like nothing happens.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hey, I did like at the beginning though. Wondering what you thought is how the opening credits is going, and they're showing you the newspaper clippings and stuff, and showing you the backstory of what happened. I like how that was executed, the idea of it, and I like kind of the take on the story, which I love the first one now. Don't get me wrong. So I don't say this is
Oh wait,
comparison.
I do have one. I
Doesn't
do
even
have
compare to the
something to
first
say
one.
real quick. So like, you know how like the opening was like
Yeah.
the newspaper clippings and stuff. What's interesting about that is Patrick. I don't know how to say his last name. But the
Lesnar.
no, it's like I think it's like French. Like,
Yeah. Mayon Devon, si vous plaît, no?
But
Yeah, you might want to look that up. I'm probably butchering it.
yeah,
Sorry, Patrick.
I'm friends with him on Facebook, but like I've never like interacted with him really.
But I did like the new take during the credit scene there, opening, laying down the story. I did like the fact of the new take on it that Harry and like a bunch of other people were in this mind, trapped, it collapsed, and it's kind of human nature. It's like the Donner Party that crashed in the plane in the snow mountains. They had no food and they ended up started eating each other. It's horrific, but it's wild how people and
Okay, I think
humanity, how they'll change when the chips are down. So the fact that he actually started killing them to keep more air in there was like he had this pressure and snapped. Was kind of more realistic to me.
so they're saying like Lucy A.
Okay, Patrick Lucier.
That's what it
Sounds
sounds like.
better anyway.
Yeah, they're saying like Lucier, and one of them there's like two pronunciations. The other one says Luce. I don't know. Like I still don't know how to pronounce it. Then
We'll go with Lucier. That sounds epic.
But the interesting thing about the opening credits being like the newspaper clippings and stuff. Do you know that Patrick edited Halloween H2O, which also had a similar opening with the newspapers?
I didn't know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It had almost a very similar opening. That is so true.
He edited a lot of.
And they use that on the Scream Factory box set too, on the outside.
Yeah,
all those clippings and stuff.
He used to be like mostly a film editor back in like the 90s, and like Halloween H2O is one of the movies that he edited.
Mm.
And I think he edited a couple of like Wes Craven movies too, I think. He was like a pretty big time editor for a while.
Yeah, I know that, like, the director, Darren, he did The Wrestler. It was kind of like that at the beginning, but...
Oh, wow. So Patrick
My Bloody Valentine.
edited, like, Halloween H2O, but he also edited Scream 1, 2, and 3. And New Nightmare.
Oh, okay.
And he edited Mimic. Like, he's edited some pretty big movies.
Okay, yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing, but he definitely knew the probably like the studio industry way of editing things and making it. So maybe he took the safe route and stuck to what works.
And then the other interesting thing is that so he did this movie in 2009, and like Tom Atkins is in it, and then in I think it was 2019. I need to look this up.
But definitely thought the killer's look was still on point, was iconic, like the first one.
Yeah. So in 2019, Patrick did a movie called Trick, which is a Halloween slasher movie, and Tom Atkins was in that too. So that was kind of his way of like paying homage to the fact that Tom Atkins is kind of associated with like Halloween. So he made a slasher movie set on Halloween and had Tom Atkins be in that also.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
And then,
yeah, you can totally see the link there.
I didn't know this. Patrick also directed The Prophecy 3. He directed that. And he did he directed the 2 sequels to like Wes Craven. No, he directed all 3 the Dracula movies: Dracula 2000, Dracula 2, The Ascension, and then Dracula 3 Legacy. So Patrick directed all 3 of those like early 2000s Dracula movies that Wes Craven produced.
That's really unique. Didn't know that. It definitely shows where he got his momentum and his style that was applied to this one.
So that's pretty interesting. I guess a lot of his early career is kind of tied to Wes Craven then.
Yeah, a lot there. So that's a big influence for him as well.
Because he edited Scream 1, 2, 3, and New Nightmare, and then he directed the Dracula 2000, Dracula 2, and 3, which were all produced by Wes Craven.
And then, of course, Scream.
Well, I said he edited those.
Yeah, yeah. They, well, then that style, I could definitely see the style in there of the genre bleeding through from the earlier ones, and then the whole younger cast and how that kind of plays a part. I could see that, because we talked about it earlier about the Scream flavor being in there, so that totally explains why that was probably
this does
bled through into this
does
one.
kind of feel like those. This kind of felt like a late '90s, early 2000s slasher movie, sort of.
Yeah, it did.
And then,
again, did you think the presentation of the Harry Warden suit was on point? And still kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I feel like he was much more brutal in this one.
Yeah. This one it's got some pretty gnarly stuff in it, especially like the actual Harry Warden, like at the beginning, like at the hospital and stuff. Like some of that stuff's kind of wild.
Yeah, that first.
And we don't even see any of that happen.
First hospital murder scene was.
We don't even.
The first murder scene was just epic.
We don't see any of it happen, but you see the aftermath, and that's like almost enough. Like you don't even have to see it happen. Like I feel like it's effective.
Not at all. That was a bloodbath.
Yeah, I feel like it's effective just seeing the aftermath.
It was kind of cool that he got up and then they cut away, so you're like, yeah, he's probably going to kill her. And that's the first body they find, and you're like, oh, wow, because she was just carnage.
And then
he walks, the camera follows Tom Atkins Yeah, I think the whole like other room of the hospital to the outside hallway, down the hallway to the desk, and everyone is just like in pieces. You know, torsos ripped off. It was a bloodbath. I was just like, wow. And you're right. You didn't have to actually see those kills because they were, just as effective. And besides the gore, just mesmerizing. You're just like sitting there like, wow, this is horrific. And I remember, I see that, and you do as well in a lot of horror movies, is the gore, the dead bodies, or the manglement. And, you're like, okay, they did a good job. But it really stands out when they do the little extra that, gets you emotionally. So I felt like that one hit on point because I was like, oh my God, I was kind of disgusted in a sense. Like,
Yeah, and
you know what? Just walking in there and it's just a bloodbath.
the special effects in this are pretty good, and Gary J. Tunnicliffe did the special effects, and I've seen him. Well, dang, he's not showing up on the letterboxed credits, so I have to actually look up something else to get him in there.
Yeah, Harry Warden. When you look that up, Harry Warden was just man on point in this. He was forced to be reckoned with, and maybe that's where some of that Michael Myers from H2O came over into this with his experience. The director, but I loved how he kind of brought back, and he's just taking that pickaxe, smashing out the lights.
Oh yeah,
Anytime there was a lights or something there, he's just taking that pickaxe and just hammering it up. And it was just it was so cool to see that. And then the kind of different variations of the kills. Now, there was some homage to the first one, like the woman in the dryer that was slain.
yeah.
Which man, the effects was really.
I feel like it's
effects was really good on that one too.
I almost feel like it's more brutal. The dryer scene is almost more brutal in this one, like visually.
So I did notice they definitely amped up the body count, amped up the gore, and something I noticed that made the especially in our review we covered it made the original really stand out because they homed in on the suspense and the anxiety of the movie itself. And the original didn't have no nudity in it whatsoever, but this one did.
Yeah.
At first, you're kind of like, oh, there's a potential scene, but then they just go full blown nude, and she's running around and completely naked.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to do that necessarily, but like it is what it is.
Right. I kind of, when these movies come out, like we talked before, it's something that's a common thread in them. So, no harm, no foul, but at the same time, it's like, wow, they did go that route and be kind of typical. And, had all the, there wasn't, that was the only nudity scene, but still, it was kind of, fan service to the slasher. I'm sure they did that to fill the seats and what have you, but
well, it's almost.
I mean, it was good. It was a good scene.
I think it's almost become like an expected thing to where people feel like it has to be in there now.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I'm talking about, is kind of following the formula. Now, you kind of have that going on in the 80s, slashers. So I don't know if he was like, let me show this generation what our slasher movies were like, because maybe they haven't gone back and relived those or what have you. Or he was just like, this is the way it goes, because if you do a Friday the 13th, they have a lot of that in their movies. So if you do a remake of it, of course, it makes sense that you're going to put elements that was in the originals into that one. But that wasn't an element that was in the actual original. So,
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe, I'm sure they just
up
that to try to get the
so
the
Gary
younger generation.
So Gary, who did like this, like he did like effects on he did like special makeup effects on My Bloody Valentine, the 2009 version. He has done a lot of like he's worked on a bunch of movies as like a makeup effects artist. So like he did like Waxworks 2, Hellraiser 3, Candyman,
Oh, nice.
Warlock Armageddon,
Even better.
Halloween the Curse of Michael Myers,
Good one.
Hellraiser Bloodline,
Nice. Okay.
Wishmaster,
Yeah, I like that one.
Blade,
That
Candyman,
had good effects to it.
Candyman Day of the Dead. I guess he worked on.
That's cool. That has some good effects.
I guess he was makeup effects supervisor on Sleepy Hollow, the like Tim Burton movie. He worked
Oh,
on.
that's great.
He was an FX sculptor on Ginger Snaps. He did special effects makeup on Dracula 2000. He worked on Mimic 2, Halloween Resurrection, Hellraiser Hellseeker, Mimic 3, Dracula 2 Ascension. So he worked on a lot of movies with Patrick. Hellraiser Deader.
Yeah, they had a good, probably professional relationship then.
He did Prophecy 4 and 5, Dracula 3, Hellraiser Hellworld, which is Feast, which I've never seen Feast either, but I heard that's pretty good.
I've never seen Feast either.
He did Return of the Living Dead 4 and 5. He worked on makeup on those. Pumpkinhead 4. Feast 2.
He's got a nice resume there.
Yeah, Feast 2. And I noticed that and he did Feast 3. A lot of these are going back and forth between like straight to video and theatrical movies. So he's doing effects on everything pretty much. Because like a lot of these are straight to video, but then he did like X-Men Origins, like Wolverine, he did like makeup effects on that.
Oh, that's decent.
And Gary
He's got a hell of a resume.
Gary did he did makeup effects on Hellraiser Revelations, which is terrible. Like that's an awful movie.
Terrible, yeah.
But he directed Hellraiser Judgment.
Throw up my mouth and swallow it again.
Yeah, he directed Hellraiser 10 though. Which I have not seen either. I've only seen the first 9 Hellraisers.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, he's
the one on Hulu was great.
Oh, I haven't seen that either. But yeah, he did the special effects on My Bloody Valentine, and he did like the 2009 version, but he also did effects on all these other movies too. So like he's kind of one of those people. It's like done a lot, but like you may have not really paid attention to his name before, really.
Oh yeah, most definitely. He's kind of slid underneath the radar there, but I think he definitely has perfected his craft, especially showed through the other movies. But definitely this one, man, he anteed up the gore for sure.
Yeah, because he does all the makeup effects. So like he didn't do like the CGI stuff, but like he definitely did all the like practical makeup on the movie. Like he was in charge of all that stuff.
That's great. I thought the chase scenes was well as executed as well.
Oh, and I noticed the one guy that is like in charge of like the mining operations. I think the character's name is Ben. He was in Roadhouse.
Oh, nice.
The guy who's like drunk and he has the shotgun and he goes to the door. That guy.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
the one that hires Dalton.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting too.
Yeah, he's cool too. Yeah, it was cool to see him and Tom Atkins together. That was pretty badass.
Yeah, because like I was sitting here watching this and I was like, why does that guy look familiar? And then I looked him up and I was like, oh, it's the guy from Roadhouse. Like I just completely I just thought that was kind of interesting.
It'd be funny if he told Harry Warden, he's thought you'd be bigger.
Oh yeah, they should have done something like that. But then that would have been like
Oh
too.
man, that'd be a little bit. Yeah,
That
if they
would.
did it like responsibly, it would be so hilarious.
Yeah, it'd be a little too on the nose probably.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of cool. Like Tom Atkins had his shotgun, like Night of the Creeps, and he was in that. And then, oh boy, here he's got a shotgun like the end of Roadhouse. So
Oh
there were some cool similarities.
yeah, I know. I never saw Night of the
Yeah, I think
Creeps.
he had that double barrel. That's the one definitely to revisit. Hey, did you also notice too? I don't know if it was purpose or something with the original or what have you, but probably not. Probably not a big deal. But nowadays it's kind of a common discussion or what have you. But I thought it was kind of cool that they actually had the black guy in this remake. When I noticed him as the deputy, he did a great job. And it dawned on me, I was like, you know what? There wasn't an African American in the first one at all. So I don't know if,
Yeah, I don't think
I
there
don't think it was
was.
intentional. No, not at all. So I don't think that was intentional, but maybe over time, some people thought, well, that's kind of, and so I thought it was cool that they, where that didn't have
And he
so
doesn't
much.
die.
Um, Yeah, and he doesn't die. And at one point, I suspected him as being part of the killer. I thought, oh, wouldn't that be wild?
Well,
Isn't the
yeah, the
deputy
scene
playing
where
everyone together?
the scene where they're all at the grave, and then like Tom turns around to say something, like he's like, "Why were you at the mine?" And he's like, he basically just like, mind your own business. I was doing my job. Like that
Yes.
that scene sort of makes it to where you're like, huh, maybe he was somewhat kind of responsible, but I mean he wasn't.
Yeah, and as it plays out, Tom, everything he interacts with is, all played into his character. Um, did you like? Because I didn't mind it. Excuse me again. Um, Speaking of the gravesite, is the whole vigilante backstory into Harry Warden. It was kind of like that Freddy Krueger thing. They were like, okay, well, we're tired of this and the problems it had, so the cops kind of, the older sheriffs like Tom Atkins and old boy from Roadhouse, they were talking about they got together and basically did a vigilante thing and
I think
killed him,
I
and
think
they buried him out there.
Tom's dad was one of the guys that were there too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He was. So that was kind of a little bit of a antique piece of the whole circle there of his dad being a part of it. Um, that I think kind of added. I liked it. I think it added a little bit of like, okay, well, these people have killed before too. And then at one point, because the body was found there after they visited there, Axel even brought up, one of them's playing this, meaning if someone didn't know where that grave was until then, other than the people that did, then everybody at that grave
Is a
is the
suspect.
possible main suspect. Because, yeah.
But visually, looking at the killer, like it definitely wasn't Tom Atkins or you know what I mean? Like, cause he's
Oh,
too
no, no, not at all.
he's moving around too good. Where it's pretty obvious that
Oh, definitely.
I feel like from a visual aspect, it's pretty obvious that it has to be like Tom or Axel, really, or the younger like black cop. Like they were really the only three
Yeah, yeah.
at that point that it could have been, really.
Yeah, that's when it kind of narrowed down. Because I remember they even had one little scene with Jamie King that was like, oh, okay, they threw in a little morsel that maybe it's her, even though it was a morsel. You really kind of see it, and then you're kind of like, no, it's not her, and of course it's not. Just kind of like her suspicion on the mistress,
Oh
young
yeah,
chick,
yeah. Well, the scene in the grocery store, like she was kind of cruel because she was basically like almost rubbing it in her face. Because she said he was there for me, and then she says he's not now, or something to that effect.
I know, and they got interrupted with Harry Warden showing up and the noise and the power going out and all that jazz. But that was a cool scene too when he's chasing them down to kill them. That was cool. It was really smart. He would leave the door and go outside. But anyway, yeah, they were about to have a real full blown crazy conversation. I think the mistress was about to just lay it all out there, which we found out later that Jamie King did know that it was going on, but us as the audience, we didn't.
It sounds like she didn't know.
She was bold. She wasn't even trying to.
It sounds like she didn't know 100%, but she was like really, like she knew something was up, so she was like sort of suspicious.
Just didn't have the smoking gun,
and then she basically figured it out like right there, I think.
Yeah, when she dropped the line, and then they couldn't indulge into questioning or discovery more of the affair. But yeah, I guess you're right that that's right, because she said, "Well, I'm not stupid." She didn't say she knew it was her, but she knew something was going on. She just didn't have probably the exact proof before she said something to him about it, and then. That girl was bold.
Yeah,
she's not there for, or he's not there for you anymore. And then she put two and two together through that whole scene. Man, I thought that the lady that ran the hotel, that death scene was wild because she was a little person, and that's probably not politically correct. I don't think midget is either, but. He totally took that pickaxe and was like, bam, and took her up into the ceiling fan. It was like wild. I mean, that was no holds barred back, Definitely throwing that at the audience because it's kind of like, yeah, she can get killed, but let's not go too, in depth on her size and how that would be played it apart. But he totally butchered that, That was pretty crazy. And then the scene following there, of course, old girl's nude, as we talked. But him taking that pickaxe through that steel spring mattress, and she's got it in front of him. That was a nice, well done scene and crafted. I did like that idea.
I was going to say one other thing. The truck driver, that guy was played by...
Oh, yeah.
That guy was played by Todd Farmer. And Todd Farmer and Patrick wrote the movie together. And Todd is like sort of Patrick's writing partner. They write a lot of these movies together. Like they wrote Trick together. They wrote Jason X together, which Patrick directed Jason X, I believe. Did he?
Oh, cool. Did he have the truck driver, did he have anything to do with Drive Angry? Because when I was rewatching this, I was like, man, that looks
Patrick and Todd.
Yeah, it looks like the guy that was messing around on Amber Heard in the movie.
Patrick and Todd did Drive Angry together, too.
Okay, that explains a lot.
Yeah, Patrick...
Yeah, he played a piece of shit in both movies.
Patrick didn't direct Jason X, but I'm pretty sure Todd wrote Jason X.
Nice.
Yeah. So Todd wrote Jason X, but Patrick didn't have anything to do with Jason X. So I guess Todd and Patrick wrote My Bloody Valentine and Drive Angry together.
That's cool. That's, because I recognized him from Drive Angry, but I just watched it and rated it last week, I think, or so. So it was fresh in my mind, and I was like, that guy was in that too, Yeah, so that makes total sense.
Yeah, Todd is an actor in Jason X, My Bloody Valentine, Drive Angry, Trick, and Jason X. Already said Jason X. But yeah, he's a director in he's an actor in a couple of the movies that he was kind of involved with in writing and stuff. So
he's definitely got some.
Yeah, we just
good history there.
We just had a
working together.
Big technical thing happen, but we're back.
some kind of fucking blackout or something. I think some guy who like ran their car into a telephone pole until he messed some shit up for a minute. But more to you, pal.
Like in My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Like they ran their car off the road.
Yeah, totally. I mean, what was that all about? Did he do that on purpose or what?
No, she did that because she was trying to get out.
Yeah, but I guess his whole thing was trying to take her to that cabin and try to pin it on Axel and all that jazz.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of what he was trying to do there. But I don't even think he knew he was the killer. I don't think he knew he was the killer that whole time.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. That's what's kind of messed up.
Rewatching this, I'll have to say this. Yeah, the scene where he gets locked in that cage and witnesses the murder.
Yeah.
Totally foreshadowed, because when they're looking right at each other and they move, they're exactly mirrored. However they moved is exactly alike, and that was totally some foreshadowing.
Well, that scene,
it looks creepy as get out. Like
that
dude's just eyeballing him.
That scene does two things though. Like it pins the blame on somebody else, but it also kind of foreshadows the ending at the same time.
Yeah, because you're like through the movie, well, they were separate in that scene, so he can't be the killer. But then it makes sense when I was rewatching it. Each scene, I started paying attention real close, and I was like, okay, they tidied that up where you could totally see that it was in his mind, and he's pulled off in that alley at one point when he's calling her to talk to her. And that's after a murder, so it's just kind of like he probably pulled over, and just his whole split personality with it. That part was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess overall, I just don't think that this one was super necessary, but I don't think it's terrible either. Because it's got good things going for it, but it was it was slightly disappointing.
Yeah, I give it to you there on that one. Definitely. For its own, though, in its time, I put it up there high because I think there's elements it did.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say that
this one itself is already, 13 years old. This movie's actually...
Yeah.
That's wild to think about. This movie's already, 13 years old. And
Gosh, already, man. I need to start calling AARP.
I don't think it's aged, though, really. It still feels pretty modern. I don't think it's, aged badly.
Yeah, it did. That's definitely a good perk, man, because it hasn't aged badly, because I didn't really notice that. Now I knew, Tom Atkins had passed on or something, so it was cool seeing him back in action.
I don't think he's dead.
You're right.
He's not dead. Is he?
He's not dead?
No, I don't think Tom
I don't
Atkins
know.
is
Double
dead.
check there.
He was just in Trick.
Get on your typewriter there.
Yeah, no, he's still alive.
No, okay, well, damn. I'm gonna blame it on the Jaeger.
He's 81 though. Or 87.
Okay.
He's 87.
I swore I seen something one time where it was talking about. I'm getting him confused with someone else, maybe. That's probably what's up.
Yeah, I guess he's actually 87.
Hey, I am not perfect, you bastards. Gosh.
That means he's
up there with
he was kind of old. That means he was already kind of up there in Halloween 3 maybe.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he wasn't young in that.
Man, Stallone is close to Atkins' age now, and he's not too far off. I mean, he looks like a hell lot better, but to each their own. I'll say though, with the music score, 2009. What was it? Mike Wanbacher. Wanbacher, yeah. I thought the score for 2009 was really cool. It was your typical, but I thought it was really good and added the suspense. I do prefer Paul Zaz's from the original. I think his was more creepy.
And
So
like,
I definitely would prefer
and
that.
this version doesn't have the folk song at the end.
Yeah, I noticed. Now I watched it all the way to the end, like I know you did. So I like the credit scene because the camera just keeps going down the mine, taking turns down the mine as the credits are rolling. So it's kind of cool to see it all go down, and then finally when it gets to the end, it runs into Harry Warden, and then he takes his pickaxe and stabs the screen. So that was a little cool bonus. But yeah, I didn't have that folk song or something on there, you know.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about this one unless you can kind of think of something.
No, I think we totally butchered it and covered it well. Hopefully, we get hold of Matt, and Matt can put in the comments section what he thought about the score in comparison.
Oh, I guess one other thing. The fact that the girl in the motel was like Axel's like ex-girlfriend from the beginning was also like a kind of thing that could have pinned it on Axel too.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God, could you imagine that scene where his wife, Jamie King, is hearing moaning and stuff, and she's slowly walking in the room, and you're like, oh my God, surely not. He's cheating, at this time. And then you go in there and he's watching a video, and she's like, what are you doing? So then it looks like he's watching like a dirty movie.
Yeah.
But then he's watching the camera footage from the scene where that girl got killed at that truck stop or the hotel. So, and then that adds more to it because it's like, okay, you're off the hook. But then it's like, wow, you're watching your naked ex on there when obviously they've been having marital problems or something, and she didn't ask it, but she looked right at her, and the camera showed that she looked right at her on that screen, running around there naked. So she was probably like, what are you doing in here, getting your rocks off of your ex, running around naked? It's bad enough to have the remembrance of it, but that was a great contrast, I guess, with both of them because Tom shows up. Tom's her ex. You got his ex, but man, imagine being a wife and walking in on that thinking your husband's doing something. Then he's like, okay, no, he's not. Thank God. Oh, he's watching a dirty movie. Then he's out of trouble with that. But then it's his ex. That's just fucking.
But also, like on his part, like he's watching his ex get murdered in that video too.
Yeah. So, like you said, it kind of sets him up too because he's got a connection to Axel, of course. But then, besides that, was he watching his handiwork, or investigating the case at that point? You're like, ooh, what's going on here?
Oh, and I guess one other thing is like Harry Warden feels more like a character in this than he did in the original. Because we actually
I totally agree. Yeah.
We kind of get to see him. Like, we don't really see him, like, at all in the original movie.
True that. And there's nothing really fleshed out with the guy. And that's where I guess I liked the opening credits of the newspapers where you find out that he was like a regular guy. He got trapped down there when it collapsed. Everyone's freaking out, anxiety.
And he panicked.
The breakdown.
He panicked and killed them all.
And he just snapped.
Well, he panicked and killed them all.
Right, which don't justify it, but
because he did
so many times human nature has been examined.
He did it because of oxygen. There's too many.
Oh yeah. It says in there that he was.
There was too many people in there.
Yeah, he was that selfish.
Yeah, there was too many people in there. They would,
of course, like what Tom Atkins was on there doing the voiceover, and was like, "Yeah, this is goddamn error," and what have you. But they kind of painted it as, he was being selfish or whatever, and I'm sure, definitely. But right when it rolled out in the paper, I mean, that sounded believable. Like, you could totally read a newspaper today and be like, man, this dude snapped under pressure and killed everybody,
Yeah, cause he did it to like save himself, because like they probably would have all started suffocating because they were running out of like air.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. It kind of, predates the Belko experiment.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
They really, yeah, you guys see that. They totally just take that theme and just turn up the volume on it. You definitely got to see that movie. It's great.
But yeah, I guess there's not really much else to say about this one. So yeah, I guess
the hairy fucking warden.
So I guess if you guys like this video,
this concludes.
If you guys like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, share it with others, and we hope you enjoyed it. I kind of wish we could have had Matt and Jacob on, just because it kind of would, since we all watched the original, it would have been cool to like have their kind of opinions on the differences too. But yeah, they were both they both had like some stuff happening that prevented them from coming on today.
Yeah, they were definitely looking forward to it, and then apologized. So that was great. And maybe I'll force them to comment in the comment section, and I'll threaten them to take them off my Christmas card list.
Jacob's never seen this one, so if he watches the podcast, he wouldn't. Yeah, he's never even seen the movie.
Yeah, he's watches then.
Matt has seen this one.
We're gonna have to give Jacob a code red then.
But yeah, Matt actually saw this one before he saw the original. He saw the original for the first time when we did the podcast, but he had seen this one years ago.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So he watched them backwards.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, but that's still pretty cool because I remember him being really impressed. He liked the remake. I remember that, but he was really impressed with the original.
He didn't like the remake.
Oh, okay. Now, he didn't like it when he first seen it, or was it watching the comparison?
Well, he's only seen. I think he only watched the remake like once. But he didn't like it. Yeah, he didn't like it, and then he ended up liking the original.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Which is kind of interesting.
Twisted too, I guess.
Which is kind of interesting because I feel like if I hadn't seen the original, I would have liked this more.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think you still have your flaws with it, but you wouldn't have no comparison. It'd be just what it was.
Yeah, so I feel like this probably would have been like a 3 or a 3.5 for me had I not seen the original. Maybe it probably would have been a 3 if Yeah, this would have probably been a 3 if I had.
Now we definitely carrying this on into Valentine, correct?
Yeah, we're definitely going to be I don't know if we'll do Valentine today, though. But yeah, we're definitely...
Okay. Well, our audience can definitely look forward to seeing the podcast of Valentine coming up soon.
Yeah, we'll definitely... We'll be doing Valentine. I kind of wish... so Arrow Video announced that they're putting Lover's Lane out, which I'd never even heard of.
Yeah, I showed you that. Me neither until I seen that.
But they're putting it out in April.
It was in April?
They should have put it out. If they would have put it out in February, we could have done that too. And then it would have been like 4 weeks of Valentine's Day slashers.
Yeah, that'd been cool. Maybe you just have to hold it off for next year or something.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
probably what I'll
But
do.
from the other one, we sit there. Yeah, when we were doing that, we looked up to see how many there were, and there weren't like hardly any at all. Valentine slasher
The
movie.
only ones that
So
I
that one
knew,
like slipped under everybody's radar.
yeah, the only ones I knew of was My Bloody Valentine 81, My Bloody Valentine 2009, and Valentine. Like, those are the only three I knew about, really. So there might be a couple more that we don't even realize.
Yeah, yeah, so true.
I doubt there's many more, though.
Yeah, we'll prepare for that for next year. Get Lover Lane in there. The artwork on that looks pretty cool, and I didn't know nothing about it until I seen what
And
it was on the list of
I guess,
Arrow Videos
I guess
April list.
Anna Faris is the star of Lover's Lane, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Because she went from like Scary Movie, which is a parody of like slasher movies, and then she's in a slasher movie like right at the same time. So that should be kind of interesting
yeah, that's pretty cool.
when we finally get around to watching that
Yeah, to
one.
see her. Yeah, see what her serious take is on it.
Yeah, so I guess that'll do it for My Bloody Valentine 2009, and we'll see you next time for Valentine, which I'm kind of a fan of Valentine, so that should be a fun episode.
Yeah, I am too. I got some nitpicking, but yeah,
But
I
yeah,
do
so
like it overall.
I guess we'll
All
see you
right,
guys next time.
later.